Hi boys, I'm here to talk to you about lowest common multiples today. And firstly, before I get into some examples and tell you about what they are, I need to tell you why it's important. So let's break down what it actually is first. So LCM, which you might see it written somewhere as, stands for lowest common multiple. And that means the number that is a multiple of two different numbers that you're given. It's also common in both sets of multiples, but it's also the lowest one. Okay, so that will make a little bit more sense when I give you an example in a minute. It's important because, particularly when you get towards fractions later on in the year and in progressive years, this is something that you'll need to help break fractions down to its lowest form, but also to add and subtract fractions. Okay, so this is like a little bit of prep work before you get to things that are a little bit more difficult, but it relies on your knowledge of times tables and multiples. Okay, so let's recap again. A multiple is the result of multiplying a number that you've chosen with another number, okay, or a number that you've been given. Okay, so let's get into some examples of this type of question. Okay, so it might be find the LCM, lowest common multiple, of 2 and 3, okay? So they're the two numbers that you've been chosen, you've been given to work with in this question. So the first thing you need to do is to write a list of the multiples of 2 and then the list of multiples of 3 and then compare your lists. So you can probably write, I would think the first 5 or 6 is a good place to start. And then if you need to write more, you can, okay, because of course we know multiples can actually go on forever. So let's have a look at the multiples of 2. Okay, so the first multiple of 2, 2 times 1 is 2, and then we've got the next one, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, and then we go on and on and on. Okay, so there's my first 6, including the number 2. And the multiples of 3, first one is 3, 3 times 1, and then 3 times 2, and then 3 times 3, 4, 5, okay, and so on. Alright, so now we've got two lists here of multiples of each of our numbers, and remember you're looking for common, but also the lowest one, okay? So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, etc., 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So the lowest common multiple for these two numbers, it appears in both, but it's also the lowest one, is 6. I should write it up here. There we go. Now you'll also notice that a common multiple is 12, but 6 is lower, so that is our answer for that question. Alright, let's do another example. Okay, so I've got two new numbers up here. We've got 8 and 12. So the same process applies. You need to write the beginning of a list of multiples for each number and then compare which number appears in both as a multiple and is also the lowest one, or the first one you could also say. Rightio, so 8, we've got 8 times 1 is 8, and then we go on. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, 8 times 5 is 40, okay, on and on. And then the next number, 12, we've got 12, 24, 32, 36. I know my times tables. Okay, and so on. Now, if you were really clued on, you would have already spotted the lowest common multiple in 24. So when you're doing your second list, your second number, if you see the number, a number matching the first list, you can stop there, okay? And you don't need to write like 4 or 5 for the second list. Okay, so our answer for that question is 24. Guys, I just thought of another style of question you might get where they actually ask you to compare or find the LCM of 3 different numbers. And I just wanted to quickly show you that. So we've got in this question 6, 8 and 12. What I've done for the first two numbers, 6 and 8, is I've written 5 there. And then with the third number, 12, that's when you can take a bit of a shortcut and stop here. If I stopped too early with the second line, I might find it a little bit too confusing. So I've got 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 8, 16, 24 again. Now, if I got to this point, I would assume probably that 24 is going to be my lowest common multiple, but I would still write a few more, and then, of course, we know it appears second here with the number 12. So 24 is our answer for that one.